For 20 years in the Imperial calendar, the transmigrator Qianyu unified the ninja realm and became the Empress of Humanity, launching an Imperial expedition to other parallel worlds through her dragon veins. As the advanced troops of Runtu, with Soil variant, Kakadong, Kakaxi variant, and Zhihuo, Uchibo Zhishui variant, arrived in the new ninja realm, they found that this world seemed to have some pitfalls. Runtu. What? In this world, my Daewoo Zhibo is gone. Which bastard did it? I want revenge. Kakadong. Oh my goodness, my father in this world actually committed suicide. Zhi Huo. I thought the emperor was already a tyrant, but I didn't expect that the Kiba F4 in another world would be even more brute. Sasuke. Eliminate the tyranny of Ninomura. The world belongs to the empire. Qianyu. How could I, as a villainous tyrant, become a savior under the influence of my peers? Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Parallel World Visitors. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the 63rd year of the Kiba era, the dragon veins under the ruins of Lulan suddenly burst into a dazzling light, with a huge beam of light soaring into the sky, illuminating the night sky incredibly bright. 3 figures of different heights slowly emerged from the towering beam of light. One of the 3 white-haired ninjas wearing a mask looked down at the mechanical wristwatch on his wrist. The chakra threshold has changed. We have really crossed the spatial barrier and arrived at another realm of ninja. Although Kakadong's tone was low, there was a hint of excitement in his words. The nearby Zhihuo didn't respond, only a hint of gloom flashed in his eyes. This gentle and kind man likes peace, and Zhihuo actually opposes the Emperor's dimensional expedition plan in his heart. But the Emperor's orders are absolute in the Empire, and as a shadow-level figure, he has no right to refute them. After all, his arms cannot twist his thighs. Runtu was also very happy. The heartless Runtu did not realize what they would bring to the world, and some purple plans brought joy after their success. Great. It seems we have succeeded. Let's go to Kiba first. Just as the 3 of them were talking, a middle-aged man with white hair was constantly approaching this side. Coincidentally, Zilai, who was collecting wind nearby, immediately realized the seriousness of the situation when he saw the pillar of light that dominated the sky. What's going on? Is there a problem with the ceiling there with such energy fluctuations? As he entered, he also ran and imprinted his hands. The hero himself was also well known in the ninja world, so he had to dress up a bit. Activate the transformation technique. Zilai also transformed into a young man with black hair while running. After approaching the incident site, I naturally keenly felt 3 exceptionally strong chakra fluctuations. This kind of chakra with a sudden change in expression, Zilai became even more cautious as he moved forward. With such a massive chakra, these 3 individuals were definitely stronger than Shangren, and could even be shadow-level powerhouses. After arriving at the underground ruins, Zilai quietly lurked inside and then lay on the wall listening to the movements inside. It sounds like there are 3 people and 3 men. Try to contact the Empire. Contact now. We don't even know the specific situation of this world yet. It's okay, as long as the Empire knows that we have successfully reached the parallel universe, the Empire Command Center will issue new instructions. No, what I mean is that we really want to bring the flames of war to this world. This is too unfair for this world, they haven't done anything. Another voice suddenly increased its volume and shouted, "Stop the fire. Don't be naive, Qianyu. No, the Emperor has already said, if this world is right, then what we bring will be cooperation." Lying on the wall, sticking Zilai inside, 3 big question marks came to mind after listening to the conversation inside. Another world. Parallel universes. And an emperor. As a writer of novels, although I write in yellow, I still know about the so-called parallel universe setting. Parallel universe visitors. Is it coming with goodwill or malice? This is not yet clear. Listen to them, they seem to be preparing to invade this world. If the world is right, would you choose to cooperate? But no matter what, one thing can be certain is that these people are definitely not pure and virtuous. After reprimanding the cessation of the Madonna's heart attack, Kakadong, with a black face, asked for the wristwatches of the other two. Give me the wristwatches, I'll contact the Emperor. Runtu quickly handed the wristwatch to Kakadong, but the nearby flame arrestor hesitated for a moment, but ultimately gave the watch to Kakadong. After some manipulation, Kakadong, holding 3 wristwatches, instantly transformed them into a silver fluid, which slowly merged together and eventually became a special triangular instrument. The instrument flickered twice and successfully started, and a huge projection appeared in front of the 3 people. Kakashi. Did you succeed? A low and incredibly majestic voice sounded. Upon hearing the name, Kakadong's face turned black and he corrected it seriously, it's Kakadong, not Kakaxi. I'm here to report on my work. Upon hearing this, Qianyu nodded awkwardly. Although he had traveled to this world for decades, he was still a bit unfamiliar with the name Kakadong. Qianyu was not too fixated on the meme of Kakadong, but sincerely praised, you are the first team to send back messages, so your world has been named World 1. Kakadong humbly said, the other teams should be preparing to gather information about the world before reporting, and this does not necessarily mean we have gained an advantage. The next thing you need to do is collect materials and establish a portal. Surprisingly, you are the first to report, and I also hope that World 1 can become the first parallel world conquered by the Empire. After Qianyu finished speaking, he squinted his eyes and glanced at Zhihuo, who was not speaking next to him. Among the 3 of them, the one he is most worried about is the Holy Mother of Fire. Qianyu continued, remember. We are here to correct those wrong worlds, not to plunder them, so you don't need any psychological burden. After listening to the fire, he hesitated to speak. Qianyu could tell at a glance what the variant of water stopping, Zhihuo, was thinking. Qianyu coldly reminded, remember the standard for judging whether a world is correct. Stop the fire. Zhihuo gritted his scalp and replied, the world of Ninomura is a cancer. This kind of world is wrong. Just remember. Qianyu nodded in satisfaction. If your conscience really can't handle it, then remember this sentence. Don't make mistakes because of kindness, such things are not allowed to happen with me. Qianyu cut off the communication after finishing speaking. P.S. Let me explain that the parallel universe variation in this book is similar to the American drama Rocky. Although they are the same person, their appearance and experience may be different, and even their gender may be different, so there is no situation where the protagonist is green. This setting is designed for readers with a mental cleanliness obsession. If you still mind, the author's sincere suggestion is that you stop here. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 2. Tracked Alien Invaders. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Hanging up the communication, Qianyu frowned and began to ponder. Qianyu himself never expected that a plan with only a 5 success rate would really be feasible. It has been almost 30 years since crossing into this nonsense world. After unifying the ninja realm, Qianyu came up with another feasible plan to deal with the big barrel wood deep in the universe, which is to plunder the resources of other parallel universes, and then use these resources to build himself into an existence that can rival the god of big barrel wood. For this plan, he sent a total of 10 teams into the Dragon Vein, and only the first ninja realm was contacted. Go tell the snake medicine to prepare to build the dimensional portal, and the parallel universe has been confirmed. Qianyu ordered to Shadow Department in the shadow. After the communication hung up, Kakadong sighed. With a clear understanding of what his companion was thinking, Kakadong patted Shurzhua's shoulder and solemnly ordered, let's go first to the Empire to gather intelligence. If there is an empire in this world, then. Zhihuo nodded hesitantly, while Runtu next to him was eager to try. I don't know what the other ninja world will look like, just think about it and look forward to it. After the three of them left, Zilai, who was hiding in the dark, secretly poked his head out. Another realm of ninja. There is also the power called Empire and the projection called Emperor. Why did the Emperor know the name Kakashi? And Kakadong, these two names are too similar, aren't they? Zilai, who had countless doubts in his heart, secretly followed suit. He dared not get too close, after all, he was three strong shadow-level players. If he got too close, he was likely to be discovered. But you have to tell the old man the news here, at least he needs to be prepared in advance. Zilai also teleported out a toad and stuffed the intelligence into its mouth. Bang! After a burst of smoke, the fist-sized toad completely disappeared and continued to follow. The Woodleaf Fire Shadow Building. Lord Huiying. The toad of Miaomu Mountain is seeking an audience. Upon hearing these words, Monkey Flying Sun Zhan, who was currently working, was slightly taken aback. Due to Ziraya's reasons, both sides were considered allies. Generally, unless there was any important information, the toads of Miaomu Mountain would not actively contact Mu Yi. Is there any intelligence coming from Zilai? Thinking of this, Monkey Flying Sun Slaying hurriedly said, "Go and invite it in." Quickly, a young toad was brought in, only two adults with fists the size of a young toad. This type of toad is usually used for communication, as it has little combat power. Lord Huiying, this is the intelligence that Lord Zilaya asked me to give you. The toad handed over a wax pill. Monkey Flying Sun took the wax ball and crushed it, then picked up the note inside and began to read. Other worlds. Empires. 3 unfamiliar shadow-level powerhouses. And the target is the Fire Kingdom. It could even bring about war. Seeing such a surreal intelligence, Ape Flying Sun twitched slightly at the corner of his mouth and asked incredulously, "Are you sure Zilai wasn't drunk while writing this intelligence? Isn't this the brainchild idea of his novel?" The toad below shook its head and said, "I don't know the content of the intelligence, but Mr. Zilai had a serious expression at the time and didn't seem to be drunk. Moreover, Mr. Zilai probably wouldn't pass on false information through Mount Myomushin." Monkey Flying Sun nodded in agreement, and what the other person said was indeed reasonable. Although his disciple was somewhat abnormal in his daily life, he was still quite reliable when it came to serious matters. But this intelligence is so unbelievable that it doesn't seem to be true no matter what. Thank you very much. The Monkey Flying Sun Slayer, who didn't know whether to believe this intelligence or not, sent the toad away. After a moment of contemplation, Ape Flying Sun beheaded the dark side in the shadow and ordered, "Go and call the 3 advisors, and tell them I have something to discuss." A small town on the border of the Fire Kingdom. After dressing up in disguise, the 3 of them easily infiltrated the Fire Kingdom. The 3 of them are all shadow-level experts, and their ability to collect intelligence is beyond doubt. In about half a day, the 3 of them had a rough understanding of the situation of this event. In the tavern, Runtu angrily sneered, "In just 60 years, there have been 3 ninja wars in a millennium of chaos. This is simply the greatest blasphemy against His Majesty the Emperor." Zhihuo comforted beside him and said, "Don't say that. Our world was just like this one before, and our world has only been truly peaceful for 20 years. Is there no Qianyu in this world?" Runtu said in confusion. "This world has not been unified, so there is only one possibility, and that is, the person who accomplished that feat did not appear." Kaka said expressionlessly to the east, "It seems that this world is wrong and needs to be corrected. The intelligence has been collected almost, and even though Kiba has been established for 60 years, the tumor system of Ninomura still exists. The errors in this world hardly need to be investigated anymore. In the original world, the garbage system of Ninomura has been swept into the garbage dump for 20 years, but surprisingly, this outdated system is still being used here. Only unity can bring long-lasting peace. This is common knowledge that almost everyone in that world knows. Runtu nodded a bit with a deep sense of empathy, only to stop the fire and stop talking. War. Zhi Huo's heart is filled with sorrow. Let's take separate actions. Kakadong said. Kakadong gave Zhihuo a meaningful glance and continued, Zhihuo, you are responsible for gathering intelligence, and Runtu and I will collect materials to establish the portal. Zhihuo nodded, hoping to gain a better understanding of the world. So the three of them went their separate ways in the tavern, and Zilai, who was hiding in the dark, also felt a bit conflicted and didn't know who to follow. Finally, Zilai gritted his teeth and formed a shadow with his hands, then said, follow those two people and be careful not to be caught. After Zilai also gave instructions, he continued to track and stop the fire himself. Based on the intelligence collected in a short period of time, the alien visitor named Zhihuo should be the most friendly and also the least steadfast in his stance. This kind of person should be easy to get in touch with. As for the other two people, the one named Runtu may not look very smart, but the Kakadong around him is not simple. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 3. The Gap Between Two Worlds. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Zhihuo walked alone on the national road to the capital of the Fire Kingdom. In the original world, when he was born, the Fire Kingdom had long disappeared. After all, he was born in the third year of the Imperial calendar. He heard the news about the Fire Country and my village from others. The interior of the empire was not peaceful, and many people longed to return to the era of the five great powers. He had heard a lot about the Fire Country and Kiba village from those people's mouths. That was an era where the will of fire burned, full of both passion and bonds. In that era, the bonds between people were very deep, and two people with different surnames were even willing to sacrifice themselves for each other. Under the joint management of daimyos and nobles, the Fire Kingdom prospered and prospered, with everyone operating well in their respective positions, and the atmosphere was not as solemn as the empire at all. The emperor said that the reason why the atmosphere of the empire is like that is because it is in a period of preparation for war, and a powerful enemy is about to come. They must be prepared to face everything. But now, Zhihuo has some doubts about the beautiful times in those populations. Zhihuo looked at the refugees on both sides of the road in confusion. Why are there so many refugees? Why doesn't anyone care about these people? Through casual conversation, I also figured out the arrival of this group of refugees. This bottle of refugees came from the kingdom of Sichuan. Due to unfavorable weather conditions, the kingdom of Sichuan experienced a once-in-a-century drought, causing many farmers in the country to have no harvest. The scenery of the river country is close to that of the wind country, where water resources have always been scarce due to its proximity to the desert. Once encountering drought, there will be a large number of refugees, and even the phenomenon of easy children and food. Stopping the fire is somewhat incomprehensible. Does that country of Sichuan not have reserves of food? You should know that the empire stores a portion of its grain during the annual harvest to prevent food crises caused by natural disasters. And drought is also very easy to handle, just send 1,000 ninjas who are good at water escape to artificial rainfall. Can't even 1,000 ninjas from the Kawakami kingdom gather together? Zhihuo expressed confusion about this. Zhihuo, who was filled with doubts in his heart, curiously joined the popular team, and Zilai, who had been following him all along, smiled with satisfaction at the scene. It seems that my guess is true, and this intruder from opinions is indeed a compassionate person. Old man, where are you going? Zhihuo asked curiously to the old man. We are preparing to go to the capital of the Fire Country. It is said that the capital of the Fire Country is extremely prosperous, and we can beg there or sell ourselves to those noble lords. Of course, Those aristocrats who are such a bad old man like me are definitely not interested, but my granddaughter should be able to. After the old man finished speaking, he touched the small head of the skinny little girl next to him with a mournful expression. If it's not for survival, who would be willing to give up freedom and personality? Zhi Huo exclaimed in surprise, selling oneself as a slave. The old man nodded. Oh my goodness. Slavery. The heinous slavery. How can this world still retain this evil system? It should be noted that slavery had long been abolished in the empire, and human trafficking was absolutely prohibited in the empire. Those who violated this rule could even be sentenced to death. Thinking of this, Zhihuo's expression felt a bit dazed. Remember, the empire was established less than 20 years ago, and slavery was only banned for 20 years. Thinking of this, Zhihuo couldn't help but burst into a bitter smile. The cessation of fire has finally produced a trace of malice towards this world. Zhihuo suppressed his discomfort and asked, "Do the nobles of your country care about you?" The old man shrugged his shoulders and sneered, "Noble lords don't care about us refugees, especially when everyone is struggling." Zhihuo frowned. Isn't Asma saying that the people under noble rule lived happily? So what are these things in front of me? Zilai, who had been silently observing Zhishui's face not far away, also raised an eyebrow. Has it started to generate malice towards this world? Is it because of this group of refugees? Or is it because of the inaction of the nobility? Thinking of this, Zilai also felt a bit anxious in his heart. You can't lose hope in this world. With this thought in mind, Zilai also interjected with a familiar understanding, don't look at their hopeless appearance. As long as they arrive in the capital of the Fire Kingdom, there will be many nobles and merchants willing to accept them. After all, they are all very cheap labor. The following sentence was never spoken, but silently added in my heart. After listening, Zhihuo looked at Zilai thoughtfully and asked, "You don't look like a refugee." Zilai opened his mouth and said, "I am a native of the Fire Country." Zilai also recommended himself and said, "You don't seem to be from the Fire Country, do you? Do you need a guide? I am very familiar with the Fire Country." Zhihuo squinted his eyes and looked at Zilai for a moment before nodding. At a glance, Zhihuo realized that Zilai was actually a ninja, and the traces of the transformation technique were too strong. He also knew that the other party's approach to him must have some purpose. Zhihuo, who was interested in gathering intelligence, was the first ninja to come into contact with this world. Although he did not know the reason why Jiraiya was close to him, Zhihuo did not reveal Jiraiya's intentions. "You should be a ninja, right?" Zhihuo confidently asked. Zilai also nodded. The several refugees next to them, upon hearing that Zilai was actually a ninja, all seemed to have seen the plague god and dispersed like avoiding snakes and scorpions. In this world, ninjas are not a good word because their appearance often comes with misfortune and destruction. For civilians, ninjas are a mobile disaster that can bring death at any time. Upon seeing this scene, Zhihuo frowned once again. Are ninjas in this world so unpopular? Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 4. What is the scene of Gangshou playing in two worlds? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Haha. You don't have to worry too much about their attitude, commoners have always been afraid of ninjas. Zilai also awkwardly explained. As a local indigenous person, Zilai is also very clear about the psychology of this group of civilians. Due to year-round wars, ninjas, as a war machine, are not directly perceived by civilians. To put it simply, the reputation of ninjas is not even as good as that of nobles in the hearts of commoners. The fire control sounds very puzzled. You should know that in the original world, Imperial ninjas were very popular. Almost everyone yearns to become a ninja, because becoming a ninja means mastering extraordinary powers, and more importantly, possessing greater productivity in manufacturing abilities. Yes. In the Empire, ninjas are not just symbols of force. Zhihuo only saw fear and hatred in the eyes of those people, but did not see envy and longing. This is very unscientific for stopping fires. It is not an exaggeration to say that in an empire, the productivity that can be endured can be compared to 100 ordinary people, and such an existence is actually feared and hated in this world. Stopping fire means that one cannot understand. Zilai also explained with a worried expression, ninjas always bring disaster and war to this world. It's normal for them not to like them, but we can't do anything about it. After all, we all have things that we must guard to the death. Disasters and wars. Upon hearing these words, Zhihuo fell into contemplation. For these shadow-level powerhouses, bringing disaster and war to the world is indeed not a problem, but not all ninjas are war machines, right? You should know that in the Empire, only upper ninja can join the army, and ordinary middle ninja and lower ninja generally engage in some non-war related industries. As long as it's a ninja, will it be feared? In your world, will the ninja of the Fire Kingdom also go to the battlefield? Zhihuo asked incredulously. Zilai also nodded naturally. You should know that Nishin is a standard combat unit in war. During the Third Nishin War, Kiba was sent to the battlefield as a student who had not graduated in those years. Stop fire. 6. Silently looking up at the sky. A picture came to mind: hundreds of lower ninjas crowded together while imprinting and releasing ninjutsu to resist the fire escape of an upper ninja. Due to limited space, there were even stampedes on the lower ninja's side. The corners of Zhihuo's mouth twitched slightly, and then roast. Your country of fire, you really can play. Zilai is not aware of this. Isn't it normal to endure going to the battlefield? Zilai, who didn't want Zhihuo to underestimate the world, explained seriously, what's this? Ninjas from all countries in the ninja world are like this. Don't underestimate ninja. For ordinary people, one ninja can easily slaughter hundreds of them. Zhihuo listened thoughtfully, but at the same time, he also had a hint of doubt about himself. Is the ninja rating in this world different from your own? With this in mind, Zhihuo decided to first see what the world's tolerance is like. Zilai also changed the topic and said, alright, let's not talk about these heavy topics anymore. Are you coming to the fire country for the first time? Where are you planning to go for a stroll? Go to the country of fire first, and then go to my village, said Zhihuo without hesitation. Zilai also raised an eyebrow upon hearing this. Sure enough. This guy is indeed running towards the wooden leaves. Zilai's eyes narrowed slightly. He decided to take Zhihuo to the capital for a tour first. It would be better if he could persuade Zhihuo to join him. If not, he would have to lead Zhihuo to a deserted area and arrest him. Never let this guy enter Kiba and bring disaster to it. Zilai also had a sudden decision in his heart. Zilai also said, since that's the case, let's go to the Kingdom of Fire first. The targets of Kakadong and Runtu on the other side are not the land of fire, their goal is to collect materials for building portals. There are mainly two types of materials for the portal, the first is the tail beast as an energy source, and the second is chakra metal. Due to their unfamiliarity with the world, Kakadong and Runtu discussed and decided to go to the land of water. The water country is far from the mainland, with a geographical location that is isolated and helpless, and its overall strength level is the weakest among the 5 major powers. Therefore, this country's tail beast should be the best for plundering. Empire World. Qianyu calmly reviewed the document in front of him, and a pair of jade arms suddenly extended from behind, gently wrapping around Qianyu's neck. I heard that the parallel ninja realm has given back. Gungate's gentle voice came from behind. Gangshou was lying on Qianyu's back, his lips even closer to Qianyu's earlobes, and Qianyu could even feel the sound of the other person exhaling. Qianyu pulled Gangshou into his arms and nodded, saying, yes. Unexpectedly, there really exists a parallel ninja realm, and I don't know what kind of person I am in another world. Am I as beautiful, kind, and powerful as I am? Gungute sighed softly. Upon hearing these words, Qianyu couldn't help but think of Gangshou in the anime, and couldn't help but laugh. Gangshou in the anime and the Gangshou in Gangshou's mouth were completely different. The gang masters of this world do not have a bad habit of gambling. The gang masters of the two worlds have almost only one thing in common, which is their broad-mindedness and dazzling headlights. Qianyu joked, it's possible that at an old age, no one wants it yet, or is it addicted to gambling every day. Gangshou angrily slapped Qianyu's chest and retorted, damn it. I hate gambling the most, and I'm the most beautiful in the world. How could I still be unmarried at an old age? It was you who took the initiative to pursue me back then. Upon hearing these words, Qianyu gave Gangshou a meaningful glance. It must be very interesting when the two worlds meet, and thinking about it makes me look forward to that day. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 5. Kakadong. This Smoky World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What do you think I would look like in another world? Gangshou remained curious. Qianyu frowned and pondered for a moment, then said seriously, gambling is like fate, with boundless strength, irritable temper. Maybe even phobia. Gangshou. Angry and furious, Gangshou pushed Qianyu away and angrily asked, besides being extremely powerful, what else is related to me? Do you hate me, this guy? Isn't that what you asked me to guess? Qianyu looked at Gangshou with grievances, speaking the truth without adding any embellishments. Today, you can stay alone in the office. I won't be with you, and I was thinking of bringing you another universe to play with you. Gangshou threw down a sentence and angrily left the office. Qianyu. Don't think I didn't know your aunt was coming, but together, is this a different kind of twin sister's flower? I'm looking forward to it. Looking at Gangshou's back, Qianyu whispered. After murmuring, Qianyu solemnly reviewed the memorial. A gang palace funding. Approved. This is a big project, and it is beneficial for the internal circulation of the imperial economy, which is more conducive to personal enjoyment. How could such a good project not be? Eternal Life Program Research Fund. Dashi Maru, isn't he? It should be Dashi Yao, who hasn't given up yet. Without hesitation, Qianyu gave a direct rejection. Why are you in such a hurry? When I catch a big barrel of wood for you, are you still afraid that you won't be able to live forever? Novel website construction plan. Zilaya. No, it should be because this guy wants to be the editor-in-chief. Lying trough. Did this guy originally want to create a pornographic website? Not passed. And we need to crack down hard. Can this kind of thing be said openly? Why is it specifically included in national policies? This person is really not afraid of social death. But the problem is, you're not afraid, I'm afraid. In this way, Qianyu continued to review the memorial with all his heart while roast. My village. With a dark face, Tuanzong looked at the information in his hand and roast, Rizong, are you sure this is the information sent from the past? Is it not his novel brain hole? It can only be said that they are worthy of being good friends. Their suspicions are the same. The Mito Gate inflammation nearby also has some doubts about the authenticity of this information. Don't ignore the dragon vein mentioned in the intelligence. Perhaps the intelligence is a bit bizarre, but if it's the dragon vein, then it makes sense, Xiao Chun said with an indifferent tone, taking a sip of green tea, so. Apes flying and sun chopping looked towards the sleeping spring. Turning to Xiao Chun, she said, let Tuanzang handle it. It's best if we can handle it directly. If not, we can tell the other four major powers about this intelligence. We, Konoha, should not be solely responsible for resisting the invasion of another world. The final meeting ended hastily, and the three people sitting in the office were still the same as before. Dirty and tiring work will always be a shadow of the pot. Okay. Leave this matter to me, I will have someone contact Zelaya. After Tuanzang finished speaking, he stood up and left the office. On the way to the land of water. Kakadong and Runtu's faces were pitch black, it was just a burning incense stick, and they also swept away a bandit hideout. Runtu grumbled. It's ridiculous. How come there are so many wandering ninjas in this world, and they like to fall grass and become mountain bandits? The incident of wandering ninjas causing chaos is probably the only one that exists. It should be noted that all ninjas in the Empire are registered, and even the use of ninjutsu by unregistered ninjas is illegal. Although this approach limits the freedom of some ninjas, it also greatly increases the security issues of the Empire. Kakadong looked at the ruins behind him with disdain and agreed, and it's all Xiaoren. I really don't know what these people think. Even Xiaoren has learned from others to rob homes. In the Empire, the existence of Xiaoren is not even qualified to become a courier, let alone others. But the world is really chaotic. There is no unified world, which is really terrible. Kakadong roast with a pair of dead fish eyes. After roast, Kakadong took out the map and continued to ramble. According to the map, the country of Bo is ahead. The map says that the country of Bo is a country without ninjas. I hope the security there will be better. Damn it. This world is so chaotic, I feel unworthy of the common people in this world. Runtu. The two of them did not hide their whereabouts and entered the territory of the Kingdom of Wave openly. After entering the territory of the Country of Waves, the security situation did indeed improve significantly, as there were no large-scale refugees near the Country of Waves. Although the people here are poor and destitute, they can barely make a living, and because this place is too poor, ninjas generally do not want to come to this remote and impoverished area. The wandering ninjas mentioned earlier that Kato from the Land of Wave has a ship to the Land of Water, so it seems we need to meet that merchant first, Kakadong said. Runtu said meaningfully, but before that, we need to deal with the little mouse following behind us. Kakadong nodded with deep empathy. Click. The short knife on Kakadong's back suddenly came out of his body, accompanied by a burst of sword light before a sudden thunder appeared. Click. The Zilai clone, who had been following several hundred meters away, had not yet regained consciousness when he was suddenly stabbed by the owl head. After a burst of white mist, Zelaya's shadow clone disappeared into the original place. Runtu, who ran over, said with a black face, "It's a physical clone. This guy has been with us for a long time." With a face full of indifference, Kaka put away his knife and said expressionlessly to the east, "It seems that we are exposed. Our side is a physical clone, so his real body should be following the side of Shirzwa." Runtu asked with concern, "Do you need to remind me to stop the fire?" "You can tell him." Kakadong nodded. The Land of Fire. Humph. Zilai, who was chatting and laughing with Zhihuo, suddenly snorted and almost fell to the ground. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 6. Kakadong. Without a pure world, You are listening at novelfull.audio. What's wrong? Zhihuo looked at Zelaya, who almost fell, and quickly reached out to help her body. "It's nothing." Feeling the pain in the neck, I shook my head forcefully. After digesting the sudden memory in his mind, Zelaya's face became extremely ugly. That sharp ninjutsu technique. Ren Zilai also remembered a deceased senior, the first swordsman who was personally forced to death by the teacher and his team. No. It's not an exaggeration to say that the ninja named Kakadong's swordsmanship may still be on top of Kiba White Teeth. In fact, the power is definitely at the shadow level, and it is among the top tier in the shadow level. Although his shadow clone is weak, he also has a particularly high level of endurance strength. It is this kind of strength, but he was instantly struck by someone else's knife. Just as Zilai was thinking about how to deceive the fire control, the mechanical watch on the fire control wrist suddenly vibrated slightly. After releasing Zelaya from the fire control, he took a meaningful look at Zelaya and then chose to turn it on. The projection of intercalary soil appears. We have already exposed it. We just solved a shadow clone that is tracking us. Its body should be on your side, please pay attention to it yourself. The projection of Runtu disappeared, and Zhihuo smiled as he looked at Zelaya. Realizing that he had exposed his true self, he also looked awkwardly at Zhihuo. But soon, Zilai also tidied up his mood and apologized sincerely, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hide it, I just want to protect our world. Upon hearing these words, Zhihuo also knew that his identity had been exposed, and the other party might have started tracking them when they had just arrived. It seems that you followed us quite early. Zhihuo looked at Zilaya with an extremely cold gaze. Facing the cold gaze of Zhishui, Zilai also knew it was time to test his eloquence. I know you are a kind child, and I can clearly feel the kindness in your heart. If you don't mind, I am willing to take you to continue understanding the world. I beg you not to bring war into our world is already bad enough. After finishing speaking naturally, I solemnly came to take a humble seat. Zhihuo looked at Zelaya with a bewildered expression on his face. Am I an intruder? Why did you just knock on me when this product arrived? This time, it's a bit muggle to stop the fire. He lived for 17 years, and this was the first time he had encountered such a situation. Why did this guy react like this when he came with malicious intent? I'm sorry. There are some things that I can't decide, sighed Shirzwa with a mournful expression upon hearing these words. Zilai, who stood up again, smiled heartily and said, so. Do you still mind me being your tour guide? Zelaya's reaction once again surprised Zhihuo's expectations. I have already spoken to this extent, but this guy is not angry yet. Is this too soft? But unfortunately, he is the kind of person who eats soft rather than hard to stop the fire. After feeling the kindness conveyed by Zelaya, Zhihuo said seriously, then I'll trouble you. If your world really doesn't need the intervention of the Empire, I will do my best to persuade the Emperor to cooperate with you. Upon hearing this, he naturally breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that he had made the right bet. Okay, then let's continue going to the capital of the Fire Country. Having traveled in the ninja world for so many years, he has seen all kinds of people, and coupled with his high level of experience and decent verbal skills, it is simply too easy to deceive a boy who is already soft on the ears. The Kingdom of Waves. Kakadong did not disguise himself in any way. He had long silver hair, wore a black mask, and wore a black tight combat suit. The exterior was adorned with green upper ninja lock armor, giving him the appearance of a cool and aloof handsome guy. In addition, with the nearby Runtu, both of them have high appearance, and walking together on the road frequently attracts the attention of passers-by. The two of them walked and stopped all the way, and soon stopped at a bookstore. With a restless heart, Kakadong eagerly entered the bookstore. Kakadong looked at the store manager and asked, hello, may I ask if there is a shortage of F/G's third department? Store manager. Although the behavior of Bai Mao coming to the bookstore to recruit chickens in front of him was somewhat outrageous, the store manager still replied seriously, sorry customer, this is not a traditional store, there are no young women. Kakadong's face turned black and he said, I'm talking about books. The store manager shook his head and said, sorry, I don't have this book either. Upon hearing these words, Kakadong was instantly struck by lightning and his whole body turned gray and white. This world doesn't even sell Xiao F/G. This is indeed a wrong world. Kakadong had no love for roast that the entertainment of the world was actually deserted. Having a good understanding of his good friend, Runtu handed a book to the loveless Kakadong. Here. This should be a specialty of this world. Kakadong, with a gloomy face, looked up at Runtu and then shifted his gaze to the book in Runtu's hand. Just by looking at the cover, Kakadong's gaze was completely drawn. A cozy paradise. Excited in his eyes, Kakadong took the book from Runtu's hand like a treasure. The nearby boss put up an advertisement appropriately. This is a masterpiece by the great writer Ziraya, and also the best-selling book in the ninja world. It is said that the books sold can revolve around the ninja world 3 times. Kakadong immediately took out his wallet and urgently urged, "Boss, pack it. I want the first one first." The poor mountain bandits never expected that the money they obtained from robbing houses would be spent on buying love letters. Traveling through a strange world, but enjoying the harvest of food and supplies, Kakadong left the bookstore with a joyful mood, followed by Runtu with a look of disgust on his face. I don't know what the character of Kakadong in this world is, but I hope he's not like this guy. Despite being a cold and aloof person on a daily basis, his heart is incredibly gloomy. A sultry man who enjoys reading love letters, I hope you won't be despised by Kakadong in this world, murmured Runtu in a low voice. A different wind blows by, and the gears of fate quietly rotate. No one knows where the future will be blown by the arrival of visitors from other worlds. The two of them who had just left the bookstore had not had time to take a few steps when they collided with the oncoming Naruto trio. P.S. The origin of the Imperial world, Ziraya, under the guidance of the protagonist, wrote famous works such as by Jia and Aben, and Kakadong is a loyal reader of this book. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 7. One sentence makes Sasuke red warm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Naruto was pleasantly surprised and asked, "Teacher Kakashi, why are you here?" Kakadong almost instinctively retorted upon hearing this, "My name is Kakadong." Before Kakadong could finish speaking, he was pushed by Runtu next to him. Kakadong, who had come to his senses, also realized that he was no longer in his original world, and no one in this world knew this joke. That is to say, do these 3 little ghosts in front of them know themselves in this world? Thinking of this, Kakadong nodded solemnly and said, As the saying goes, saying more makes more mistakes, so Kakadong chose to pretend to be cold and aloof. At this moment, Runtu next to him condensed into a line through chakra and whispered, "This little ghost is not right. Is this 9-tailed chakra?" Kakadong also noticed something was wrong with Naruto. Kakadong didn't expect to encounter 9 tails here. Runtu said, "You first stabilize these 3 little ghosts." The received Kaka asked expressionlessly on the east side, "Why are you 3 here?" Naruto teased the back of his head and explained, "Didn't you tell us to act separately, teacher? Didn't we come out to gather intelligence?" Sasuke squinted his eyes and looked at Kakadong and Runtu in front of him. The Kakaxi teacher in front of him gave him a strange sense of unfamiliarity, while the black-haired guy next to him gave him an inexplicable sense of familiarity. In short, it is a very contradictory situation. But the Sharingan did not see any traces of transformation on Kakashi's body. Sasuke remained calm and vigilant. Kakadong followed Naruto's words and asked, "So did you get any intelligence?" He. Not yet. Naruto shook his head confidently. Looking at Naruto in front of him, Kakadong finally remembered. The product in front of me should be a variant of the teacher's son. Naruto from another world. Kakadong suddenly realized in his heart. The Naruto of the 2 worlds are still somewhat similar, but the Naruto of this world, why does it look a bit frustrated? Yes. It's just that it looks too clumsy. Naruto of the original world, no. It can be said that Naruto Bufeng is much taller than the little ghost in front of him, and his temperament is also much better. Firstly, Naruto from the original world did not have those messy beards on their faces, and secondly, there was a problem with their temperament. If the original Naruto in the world was a polite, gentle, sunny and handsome young master, then the Naruto in front of him was just a reckless young boy, looking very mischievous. Why is there such a big difference between Naruto from two worlds? Even if there is a big difference in physique, there is such a big difference in temperament. How do teachers in this world take care of their children? Kakadong thought dejectedly in his heart. At least my own teacher is also the director of the Imperial Postal Bureau, and my teacher's mother is born into a wealthy family. No matter how careless they are, they wouldn't have educated their child like this, would they? At this moment, Sasuke, who had been silent beside him, suddenly asked coldly, "Teacher, who is this person next to you?" Kakadong, who was still pondering the world in his heart, casually replied, "He is my friend, named Runtu." Runtu. Sasuke felt lost in thought and was confident that he had never heard of this name. As one of the strongest combat forces of Uchiha, even though his nerves were a bit thick, Runtu finally discovered who the person in front of him was. Uchiha Sasuke. The youngest son of Zuka Yuji Bo Fushan, known as the Trembling Nobleman in another world, is said to have shadow-level combat power before the age of 12. More importantly, it is said that Uchiha Sasuke awakened the bloodline inherited from his mother at the age of 8, also known as the legendary Mudun. Humph, Kakadong was actually recognized first. "No, I can't fall behind." After the man's determination to win or lose, Runtu said seriously, "Sasuke, I didn't expect to see you here. I only heard your father praise you as the first genius of Uchiha a few days ago." Runtu's words finally fell, and Naruto, who was originally chattering, suddenly stopped speaking. Even nearby Haruno Sakura stared angrily at Runtu with wide-open eyes. Sasuke, who was originally cold and aloof, was also silenced. Sasuke's face instantly turned red and warm, and even his riding wheel was infuriated. He glared fiercely at Runtu, unaware that he had said the wrong thing. This guy is too bad, isn't he? Even though Sasuke's father has been dead for so long, he still jokes about it. What's the difference between this and face-to-face output? Even Naruto, who has always enjoyed playing pranks, thinks that Runtu's actions are a bit excessive. How could this person be so bad, to make fun of the deceased? Naruto looked at Runtu with disdain, and next to him, Haruno Sakura had a scumbag-like expression. Brush. Angry Sasuke held a grudge and fired a sword straight at Runtu's waist. Faced with the sudden sword in his hand, Runtu easily caught it and looked at Sasuke with confusion. What's wrong with this little ghost? I was just saying hello, why did I suddenly become popular? Did I just say the wrong thing? Runtu thought about what he had just said and realized that there seemed to be nothing wrong with his words. Naruto roared angrily and then lifted his fist and charged towards him. How can you make fun of Sasuke's father? You bastard who made fun of the deceased, accept my Naruto lord's just punishment. Runtu pressed his index finger against the other person's head and looked at Kakadong next to him with a bewildered expression. Did I just say the wrong thing? Kakadong gave a silent last glance. Sure enough. Even if this guy has strength, he is still a guy who can accomplish more than defeat. You can speak recklessly without knowing anything, right now you're stepping on thunder. P.S. Sasuke from the Imperial world and Naruto's mother are not the characters in the original plot. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 8. Kakashi from Two Different Worlds meets. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This translator is experiencing an error, please try another translator. Chapter 9. Kakadong. I am a bit. You are listening at novelfull.audio. If you're not enemies, then I want to take my students away, Kakashi said seriously without further entanglement. After a brief confrontation, Kakashi also realized that the strength of these two people should be similar to his own. When going out to perform tasks, try not to conflict with others unless necessary, as tasks are the top priority. Runtu casually refused, this won't work, especially that little yellow-haired ghost. Their preferred target was originally the tailed beast, but now they have finally encountered Naruto, a little guy related to the strongest tailed nine-tailed creature, and how could they easily let it go? Is that right? It seems we have to do it before. Kakashi said with a pair of dead fish eyes, full of disgust. Stop talking nonsense. Let me show you what skills you have as a Kakadong variant. Runtu said a sentence that Kakashi couldn't understand, and quickly formed a seal with both hands. Fire escape. The art of dragon fire. Runtu started with B.level fire escape ninjutsu, with a huge fire dragon charging straight towards Kakashi. And Kakashi, facing the oncoming dragon, also calmly formed a seal on his hands. Earth done, earth flow wall. A wall made of original soil rises from the ground, and the most eye-catching thing is that a dog head statue is also outlined on top of the wall. Kakadong, who was watching the battle next to him, twitched slightly at the corner of his mouth when he saw this scene. What is going on with oneself in this world? Is carving a dog's head on the earthen wall to show off the exquisite control of one's chakra? At least it's the strength of the upper ninja level. Kakashi let out a sigh in her heart and silently pulled open the blindfold in her right eye. We need to fight quickly and make quick decisions. Kakashi's hands were imprinted, revealing his hidden Sharingan. Right will eyes. Times two surprised voices rang out simultaneously. Sasuke looked in shock at Kakashi's right eye, the Sharingan of Sankoku. Sasuke didn't expect to see the bloodline boundary exclusively belonging to their Uchiha family from an outsider. Runtu looked at Kakashi's right eye with disbelief as he looked at the wheel of the three Goyu writing wheel. Sangoyu writes will eyes. This level of Sharingan can now apply to join the elite army of the Imperial Army. Of course, what Runtu is even more curious about is why Kakadong in this world has a Sharingan, and it is also Sangoyu. Thinking of this, Runtu couldn't help but glance at Kakadong, who was watching the battle beside him, with a hint of contrast and disdain in his eyes. Look at you, in another world, you all have Sharingan, are you being compared now? Kakadong also looked at himself in the parallel world before him in confusion. Kakadong never imagined in his life that he would one day merge the writing will eyes together. If it's about writing will eyes. How excited was Runtu's gaze. Then let's have a showdown of writing will eyes. Writing will eyes open. The Goyu in Runtu's eyes quickly turned. E-Goyu Goyu Sangoyu kaleidoscope. Looking at the pupils in Runtu's eyes that had turned into a big windmill and then connected, Sasuke beside him felt numb. Is it pure Uchiha that the Sharingan can be freely opened and closed? Soon, Sasuke realized that he was hasty. Special Code 3 Goyu. Not right. This TM is a kaleidoscope. Is this guy even more pure than himself? Sasuke expressed that he couldn't understand and was greatly shocked. Why can I see two writing will eyes today when only I am left with Uchibo? And they are all high level, even including a pair of legendary kaleidoscopes. Uchiha Sasuke has already swept his brother out of Uchiha's genealogy. Are you Uchibo? Kakashi looked at Runtu, who had opened the kaleidoscope, in disbelief. Ha ha. I bow down under the power of the Sharingan. I am Daewoo Zhibo, but one of the 5 eternal tribes designated by the Emperor. Runtu, who opened his Sharingan, laughed wildly. Kakashi curled his mouth and said in silence, farewell, Uchibo is dead. Although surprised to encounter a Uchiha with a kaleidoscope here, since he was an enemy, Kakashi had no intention of keeping his hand. Lay done, Qianyu. Just like the sound of thousands of birds chirping, Kakashi finally showed off his famous stunt. This is the thunder escape created by the Emperor. Qianyu. The technique that claims to be the most suitable for Uchiha. But why isn't this guy using a knife? Although somewhat surprised that the otherworld self could use this special ninjutsu, Kakadong still wondered why the otherworld self was not a bend. I have a question for you, is this guy named Kakashi really named Chimu? At this moment, Kakadong seriously suspects that he may not be a member of the Chimu family in another world. Otherwise, why don't you play with these fancy things instead of playing with your ninja? Sakura responded very cooperatively, the teacher's full name is Kiki Kakashi. It's Chimu. So why? Isn't the dad in this world turned green? After realizing this situation, Kakadong's gaze at Kakaxi became strange. Surprisingly, it's Rachel. Are you provoking me? Runtu's gaze became sharper. Within the empire, the ninjutsu of Raichi is known as the most suitable ninjutsu for Uchiha, and almost every Uchiha ninjutsu knows this technique. But awkwardly, Runtu couldn't learn this technique, and now Kakashi, a variant of his own close friend, can use this technique in person, and this guy is also a non-Uchiha. What is the difference between this and face-to-face tyrant? Runtu felt his fists hard. Damn it! Damn it, witness the power of God. Angry and frustrated, Runtu raised his hand to condense his Yin attribute chakra, and the huge Susanoo arm was raised high and then heavily smashed towards Kakashi. Kakashi's Sangoyu in his right eye kept spinning, and his legs ran quickly, keenly avoiding the impact of Susanoo's arm. Kakashi inserted Leichi into Susanoo's arm, causing a long scratch on his arm while constantly approaching the body of Runtu. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 10. Runtu. Did the Uzhi wave lead the earth to die young? You are listening at novelfull.audio. This is the divine power of my Uchiha clan. That man should have reached this level too, right? Sasuke looked at Runtu with longing, and even felt a bit of resentment in his heart. Where exactly did this guy come from? If this bastard had been in a clan that night, shouldn't such a tragedy have happened? When Kakashi finally approached Runtu, Runtu also finally activated the power of his eyes. Divine power. Rachel. Even the thunder in the sky can be cut off. Kakashi's right hand passed through Runtu's chest, but before Kakashi could be happy, he was swept away by Runtu's hand. It's truly the advanced version of Qianyu, the legendary S.level ninjutsu. It can actually penetrate the defense of Susanoo, Runtu exclaimed sincerely as he watched Kakashi being swept out. Cough. Kakashi, who got up, spat out 2 mouthfuls of water and then panted as he looked at Runtu, who was so harmless. Same appearance as a close friend, but different age. And this pair of kaleidoscopes, this eerie ability, who the hell is this guy? Kakashi, with a cold sweat on his forehead, couldn't help but look at Naruto not far away. The teacher's child is there, I can't lose. This guy. Kakadong looked at the persistent Kakaxi and raised an eyebrow. This guy's personality is somewhat similar to his own, but his endurance dogs have to shake their heads when they see it. Kakadong roast. Does your teacher have a hobby of catheters? Or is he married? Why does it look so empty? This endurance will affect family happiness. Naruto. As a 9-tailed pillar, Naruto, who has never lacked chakra in his life, is also somewhat confused. Can chakra still be used up? Naruto, whose eyes revealed clear foolishness, looked at the impoverished household Sasuke next to him, who also lacked chakra. Sasuke's face turned black and he explained, the reason why teacher Kakashi's chakra was consumed so quickly may be because of the Sharingan on his body. If it were not a member of the Uchiha tribe, this I would continue to consume the holder's chakra. Naruto suddenly realized and asked in reverse, so it's like this. So why is he still holding this eye? Sasuke grinned and explained contemptuously, what other reason is there? It must be coveting the power of the Sharingan. Kakadong expressed that he did not understand this. This parallel world does not seem to be a mentally disabled person. Is this person giving up their own flag with knife technique for the sake of a writing will I mentally ill? Just as Runtu was about to continue his attack, Kakadong, who had been silent for a while, jumped out and took over the battlefield expressionlessly. Next, let me wake him up. So he can know that Chimu's swordsmanship is the foundation. Runtu, who was about to take action, nodded with deep empathy. I really need to teach this white-haired guy a lesson. You are a white-haired member of the Chimu family. If you don't practice your own inherited swordsmanship well, you can forget to wear a riding will I with you. Why do you go to learn Lei Che? Naruto, who didn't understand anything, sneered in displeasure, it's actually Che Luanzhan. These two people are so despicable. Runtu, who walked over, retorted casually, what do you know, you little devil? We're helping your teacher. Who the hell are you? Sasuke looked at Runtu expressionlessly. I can be quite certain that the name Runtu is not included in the entire modern Uchiha family tree, so you are definitely not a member of my Uchiha. Upon hearing these words, Runtu thought of the difference between the names Kakadong and Kakaxi, and curiously asked, is there anything similar to my name? Sasuke replied, yes. There is a guy named Daitu who is also a hero of Kiba village. The hero of Kiba. Upon hearing that all of himself in this world had become heroes, Runtu felt somewhat unconvinced that he had been compared to others. At the age of 15, he opened a kaleidoscope and was hailed by Uchiha as the youngest genius in history, but he did not become a hero. Why is he in this world? Tell me more specifically. I'm quite curious, Rantu casually hugged Sasuke's neck and asked. Sasuke. Uchiha brought Soil, a hero who sacrificed himself in the Battle of Kami no Pai Bridge. He was only 14 years old at the time and was later allowed to enter the Kiba Soul Cemetery. Runtu. Has this world cooled down? Damn it. The world's own version died at the age of 14. Isn't that even worse than Kakadong's variant? Now Runtu is somewhat unacceptable, as the saying goes, he is both afraid of his brother's suffering and afraid of them leading the way. That mutant brother must have been too miserable, right? This can no longer be said to be a premature death, it should be said to be a premature death. Runtu originally thought that the variant of Kakadong would be outrageous enough without playing with knives, but surprisingly, there is a more outrageous one here. Thinking of this, Runtu's face suddenly turned pitch black like ink. Before being sent to this world, each of the three of them had their own personal tasks. Kakadong and Zhihuo are not known to him, but his task is to protect the Uchiha of the parallel universe, especially those who have already opened the kaleidoscope of Uchiha variants in this world. Because this involves the kaleidoscope transplantation plan. The reason why Uchibo was designated as one of the 5 eternal clans by the Emperor is because he was able to step into the eternal realm, the 6 immortal realms, through his bloodline. Above the kaleidoscope lies the eternal kaleidoscope, and to open the eternal kaleidoscope, one must transplant someone else's kaleidoscope Sharingan to open it. The closer the blood relationship between the two, the higher the success rate. Many people who open the kaleidoscope have no brothers, so the Emperor thought of those variants in the parallel universe. Normally, he should have first found the Uchiha Runtu of this world, and then exchanged Sharingan with the other party. But now the result is that my variant in this world has disappeared. This dirt belt is too unpopular, isn't it? Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th.